right, welcome Android Guru fans. I'm your host, Droid Guru, and in this episode, this is advanced topic. So this one's going to show you how to host custom robots. So let's say you have a robot and you want to host it, but the protocol is not listed in the DroidGuru Android app. So this is going to show you how you can add it, and because remember, you need an Android phone with the app to host your robot on the platform. But let's suppose you have a robot that's not listed, or you created your own robot because you're a robot builder and you want to add it to the platform. You have some custom thing. All right. So in order to add additional robots to the platform, you have to modify something called the JSON protocols.json file. It's just a text file and it's in JSON format. So we'll show you how to modify that. And that's all you have to do to add a custom robot with your own protocol to it. All right, so as a prerequisite, before you can do this, you need to understand the JSON format, and that's just a standard format for exchanging data over the web. But if you already know that, that's the first prerequisite. And the other thing is you need to know how to copy and download files to your Android device, because you'll have to have that file on your Android device that's connecting to the platform with the app. All right, and you need to know the communication protocol for your robot. So if you bought one and it's not listed on the Android app as a list of available robots, then you can either go to the company manufacturer website and go to the developer portal. They may have the information there, or you might have to contact the manufacturer directly. But if you created your own robot, you already know your protocol and you can create it however you want. All right, so those are the prerequisites. But before we get into the demo, let's just explain what the demo is going to show you. So it's going to show you how you can go to the droidguru.net and click and download the JSON protocols.json text file. And then it's going to show you, once you have that file, how to open it and modify it using a text editor or some online tool. So once you do that, you can add that to your Android app, and then it'll appear in a list of robots and protocols, and you're good to go to connect your custom robot to the platform. So let's get started with that demo right now.
There are two ways we can, this is the JSON protocols.json file. So it's just a text file. We've gone to the droidguru.net website and downloaded the file to our local computer. And I've opened it up in, you can open it up in your favorite text editor. All right, so once we look inside, we can see that it's in the JSON format. So all it contains is one giant JSON object. And remember, JSON objects are key value pairs. So it's a JSON object of JSON objects. So what we have here is the key part of the object inside represents the protocol for a particular robot. So you can see here we have mini controller, we have the MDC 2668, we have Lego NXT. All right, so that's the key part, and then the value of these JSON objects is actually the communication protocol for that robot. So once we select which robot we want, the Android app looks at the value part of the object to see what the communication protocol is for that robot. So as you look into it, you see that there's a few basic commands that are that you have to implement. You don't have to implement all of them, but the main ones are the joystick, which are the N, S, N, W, N, E. So those are like the regions of a compass: north, south, east, west, northwest, southwest, etc. So those are the positions of the compass. So when I move the joystick in those directions of the compass, and then the stop, you have to implement stop. The value for that particular object is the communication or the message that's going to be sent to the robot. Let's see. So for example, here, and some of these protocols are different for each robot. So some it's just a text value, and some it's actually like binary values represented by hexadecimal codes. So depending on your robot, that's how you may have to implement it. So those are the main ones for driving, and then we have additionals. So for each button on the pilot user interface, there is a corresponding command. So So you implement the commands that you want for your particular robot. So you may not use all of them, and you may use some of them, but the main ones you should implement are the joystick, which is the north, south, east, west, etc. Stop. Those are the main ones. And if you have additional ones, you can add those. So let's show here how we can add a new protocol or new robot to the JSON protocols.json file. So once again, I'm just going to add another JSON object inside. The first part is called custom robot. That's the key for this JSON object. And then the value is going to be another JSON object that implements the commands that I want. So right now I'm implementing N, which is north, S, south, and then you should always implement stop at least. So that way, once the robot's in motion, you should have some way of stopping it. So when the user lets go of the joystick and it goes back to center, it sends the stop command. All right, so these are the keys. So now I'm going to add the value. So the value is actually just going to be the data that I want sent to the robot. So for example, this particular custom robot, if I send the string or the text FWD, that's going to correspond to moving forward. So when I get a north command from the joystick and I've selected custom robot, it's going to send the forward FWD command to my robot. So whether the robot's connected by Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or USB, doesn't matter. It's going to be sent as information to the robot. So in this case, my custom robot, I just implemented it as I just implemented 3 of the commands. So we can also go to the website droidguru.net in the help menu, and we'll list all the commands available. But the main ones are the joystick commands, north, south, east, west, etc., and stop. And then if you want to activate something with the buttons, you can implement those commands too. All right, so another way we can do it is we can use, instead of editing locally on our text editor, we can go to the website like this one here, enter the URL where the JSON file is, the DroidGuru JSON file, and these online JSON editors allow you to do it within your browser, and then you can download it as a text file. All right, so I've entered the URL, so it's similar to the same thing we had before, except it's a little structured differently. So here we can see the raw text on the left side, and on the right we see it has like a renderer that renders the actual JSON and shows us it's like an object tree. So once we click on the main object, we can see there's additional objects. There's the key value pairs inside. So once again, we have each robot that you'll see listed in the Android app when you list it from the protocols drop down. And then this tool allows us to select one of the nodes in our JSON object, and we can add additional objects. So here I've right-clicked my mouse. So the right-hand side is the editor. So I'm once again doing the same thing I showed you in the previous demo, editing a text file. Just I'm using this online tool. So I've created a custom robot object, and now I'm adding the additional objects that belong inside this custom robot object. So once again, I put the key and then the value. So you just right-click and add new object on each node that you want to append something to. All right, so I do append string. So string is the actual key. And then I add another string as far as this object. This will be the value. So once again, I'm implementing N, which is north, which is when somebody pushes the joystick up. South is when the person selects a joystick and pushes it down. And then stop, that's when the joystick is released. It centers the joystick and it should stop the robot. So that should be the behavior. So you want to stick to these standard behaviors that a user is expecting when they use the DroidGuru user interface. So here's an example using the micro car. It has the joystick commands, A, B, and C buttons. and the pins. So pins are the additional like switches that you see on the user interface. And also there's oh yeah, for the sensor one, like, so if your robot sends back sensor data, you'll have to implement that command also. All right, so once we created it, we select the copy, and then what we created on the right hand side editor actually gets converted to the left hand side as the actual text. So it's just this right hand side lets you edit it in like an object format. All right, and then we download it. We can click the download button and it downloads it to our computer. And then once again, you just take that file and copy it over to your Android device. So now that you have it copied to your Android device and you have the DroidGuru app, you see the standard built-in JSON text file. But if I click on the open file, I can go to the one that I copied to my open map file. I pick my custom one. Now you can see it appears in the protocol drop down. So now this custom robot can be used. And then if I click the reset protocols, it goes back to the default one. So if ever you want to go back to the default, just go reset protocols.
Okay, DroidGuru fans, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Check out our other YouTube videos. And if you have a cool robot project you want us to know about, just let us know and we'll probably put it on our video.